Welcome to Protea Conversations, the podcast where leadership in business and accounting isn't just discussed, it is explored. I'm your host, Zane Stevens, and thank you for joining me as we delve into the minds of some of the most influential leaders in the industry. Our journey is one of discovery, from unraveling the unique stories that shaped our guests' careers to invaluable advice that fueled their success. We are here to provide you with simple, actionable advice to accelerate your career and personal growth. Whether you're a budding professional or a seasoned executive, these conversations are designed to offer insight and perspective that resonate with everyone. So tune in, engage, and be inspired as we build better leaders together. Welcome to Protea Conversations. I'm excited to share my guest stories with you, but to start off, I thought, what better way to get going than sharing some of my own advice? I'm going to go through, have a discussion with you about who I am, where I've come from, and then I'm going to answer my own questions. I have a set of questions that I plan to ask every single one of my guests that lead into further conversations. Today, I want to share with you who I am, where I came from, and my responses to these questions. It's going to probably feel a little weird because I'm talking to myself, but I'm doing this to hopefully share some information with you guys so you get to know me better. So everybody will, when we have these conversations, will start with just telling us a little bit about who they are. And for introduction today, my name is Zane Stevens. I'm the founder of Protea Financial. I am a husband, I am a father, and I love sport. On a daily basis, my life revolves around Protea, making sure my clients are happy, my team are happy, and I constantly working towards the goal of making sure this is a successful business so that the amazing people that work with me have a place to go to on a daily basis, have a great, safe environment, a great job that they can love. At home, my goal is to keep my wife as happy as possible. I'm very fortunate to have an amazing wife who deals with a lot of nonsense. I can be very difficult to be around. I have 2 young kids, a bunch of pets, 5 cats and a gecko at the moment, and I try and be there for them as much as possible. I love coaching their sports, especially soccer, where I'm very involved on board level at Nevada Youth Soccer Association. I try spend time with my kids as much as possible. If it's not playing Pokemon Go, talking about Pokemon, playing sport, doing sport, I also go out of my way on a daily basis to cook dinner for them all. I try be a good role model to make sure that my kids grow up with the message of being kind. How I got here was in high school, I was pretty good at math. I was pretty good at accounting. So they told me, go do accounting. Become a chartered accountant is what they told me. I had no idea what that meant, but off I went to college, got my undergrad, got my postgrad, and then disappeared off to have to find myself a training contract at an audit firm, CPA firm, chartered accountancy firm in South Africa. I was fortunate enough to end up at a Big Four, and I enjoyed 4 years at KPMG, 3 years of my training contract and 1 additional year where I was, mentored very much by some very good managers and partners that I was very fortunate to run into. I was given opportunities on global projects as well as small box jobs. Box jobs are those jobs where they, here's your shoebox full of papers, give me a set of financials and a set of reports. I got experience in multiple parts of the business, not just in audit, a little bit in tax, a lot in advisory. I got opportunities that most would only dream of. I was extremely fortunate at KPMG that in my 4 years, I probably got the experience that most people would get in 8 to 10 years. I worked really hard. I was never the easiest person to manage. I was very strong-willed, bull-headed, and was running at 1,000 miles an hour all the time. I achieved a lot, I learned a lot, and I had a great 4 years. After that, I moved over to a listed subsidiary in the technology space, though I was more focused on their inventory side of the business to start with before my boss left and I was able to be promoted into a much more senior role where I oversaw a large team. I was given a lot of great responsibility, including managing a team of 25 people. So even at a young age, I had to just get forced into this opportunity. Come 2013, my wife, who was currently working at a winery that was owned by American ownership, received a great opportunity to take up a job as a CFO for this investment entity in California. Pretty quick 8-minute conversation. We said, why not? Let's do this. She came over before me. I headed over in August 2013. And like they want to say, the rest is history. I initially started by doing some FP&A work until we needed to solve our own problem. We had investments, we had projects, we had no idea who's going to do the accounting. At the time, I looked at the market and I didn't like what I saw. What I saw was a lot of poor quality options, a lot of really expensive options, and unfortunately also options that were a little bit of both. I totally believed at that point in time that I could provide a better service at higher quality at a more affordable price by taking up this smart idea of hiring some people in South Africa for clients in the US. Hey, here we are 10 years later. That idea worked out. It's been a journey. There's been some ups and downs and roundabouts, but I'm in a position right now where I'm very satisfied of what it looks like as a company and the hard work my team puts in to help as many people as we can. I'm very fortunate that we've gone through some tough times and people have stuck together, banded together, and helped our clients out. There was a pandemic in 2020 where things got really crazy. My team were able to react, work hard, and help our clients get through that difficult time. We're currently going through a difficult time in the industry we serve as well. And my team are adjusting, working hard, being motivated, and helping our clients out in a very difficult time. I've come to a situation where I'm extremely proud of the people that I work with on a daily basis. Protea is nothing without the team. The team is amazing, and I'm just so thankful that I'm just a little piece of what is a greatly successful project. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I was sure to ask my team, what do their days look like? My guests, what does your normal day look like? And I wish I could tell you that I have a normal looking day, but I'm at the point in my career where my role at the company is changing significantly. I'm making a concerted effort to take on less client-facing work and focus my energy on working on the business, specifically from a people standpoint, operational standpoint, and the biggest part of my job is the client development standpoint. Making sure that I'm having the conversations so that we are in people's thoughts and minds when they run into one of their clients that need us help. We built this business on referral networks, and part of my job at the moment is to build it up. But around 4:30, I work to 6:45, 6:50, help get the kids ready, do some school drop-offs, and generally back in front of my computer around 7:30, and I get working till 4 when then I take on all the kid drop-offs, kid coaching, whatever else could come with it. I tend to put in at least an hour every night, normally catching up with some admin, responding to some emails, directing people when their days go through. That is what my Monday to Friday looks like. My focus is always on making sure that the business is stable, people are happy, and that we have the opportunity to grow or replace clients that leave. My day-to-day doesn't look the same every day, but it's got the same feel on a daily basis. My role is fairly well defined at this point. Make sure Protea is successful and always in a place to be successful. The next question I like to ask everybody is about their challenges. You've all seen those memes before where it's like, this is what we think success looks like, and then it's the wiggly squiggly line along the way and saying this is what success actually looks like. And I'm very fortunate that Protea has been successful. We've seen growth and been able to help a lot of people. But it isn't a straight line. It's not that things went perfect all the way along the time through it. There's been some challenges on the way. First, just trying to balance the demand for work and making decisions on when to hire. Always been really, really tough. think the hardest time that I've ever experienced as a business owner was making the decision to hire the next person in the US. That was really, really tough. It was really hard to figure out what that next person looked like in terms of skill sets and desires in life. I went through a few people that didn't quite work out perfectly. I think they could have made it work if they wanted to, but they didn't quite buy into the concept of we are looking to focus on getting transactional accounting in a great place because we believe that good underlying data provides the basis for good decision making. And even though those people were really great people, they never bought into that idea. They never bought into the idea of being fully remote, using technology to leverage our skill set, to provide an exceptional product that moves quickly and is focused on teamwork and communication. It was tough. You know, when you bring people in and you trust them with stuff and they leave, it's hard. There was definitely times through those first 2 hires where I was like, gosh, can this even work? Is it only working because I bought into it? Can I get other people to sort of agree, like, hey, this is something that could be pretty cool? Who knew? I had a lot of doubts at that point. I was very thankful, though. I was able to find some great hires afterwards. I'm very proud of my team right now. Obviously, the first 2 didn't work out so well, but then I hired Ashley and Jennifer back to back pretty quickly. Both of them are still with us today. Both of them have been with us for a long time. From an early on within their joining the team, I could see that they bought into the concept. They loved the idea of flexibility. They enjoyed working from home and the freedom that gave them. And they've been great team members ever since. And everybody we hired so far since then, Jose joined us a year later. My wife Candace joined somewhere in between all of that as well. We've had Megan and Brendan and Wiley, and they've bought into the concept. Not always perfectly. It's obviously been hard along the way. There's a lot of mentoring, discussing, sharing my thoughts and ideas, constantly talking about communication. But I've got an amazing team on the US side, and I'm very thankful for all the hard work they put in. Obviously, there were challenges along the way as well, working with a remote team in another country. If you Google South Africa, you'll see that there's some issues in that country, especially around the power grid. They've had water issues. There's, political issues. There's a lot going on in that country. And managing a team that has a lot going on outside of the business life can be tough because you deal with the ups and downs of the emotions that go with it. And trying to find people that can support you and help you along the way is so, so important. And understanding when to make changes, when to make additions, when to adjust what the process looks like has also been really tough. One of the first decisions I had to make at early on page is one of my really good friends had come in and was leading as a manager. And I had to make the decision that she probably wasn't the right person for the job. And not because she wasn't skilled, not that she didn't buy into the concept, but I needed somebody that was going to come in with and rule with a bit of an iron fist. I needed somebody that would come in with a bit of personality and take responsibility, understand that we're trying to build a business, understand that people have lives, at the same time, there's a job that needs to be done. And at that time, I needed to go out and make that hire. And I hired Sonia, and Sonia's still with us today and been a fantastic addition to our business. And at the time, she was the perfect hire, the perfect replacement, came in a little bit, less emotionally attached to the people we already had in place, was able to put in the right process and procedures to turn what was sort of a little bit of a hobby business at that point into real business. Making that decision to replace a friend was difficult. It was 100% the correct decision, but it didn't mean it didn't leave me in a bad place emotionally, having to, replace a friend. It was tough. One of the hardest things I've ever done. And along the way, I've had to make similar decisions, especially around structure. It's tough. You have to make a lot of decisions as an entrepreneur, as a leader, that are tough on individuals, but good for the whole thing, right? For everybody. On a daily basis, I have to make decisions that I believe are correct. I have almost no evidence to prove that they will be correct, but I'm trying to weigh those up to make sure that I'm making the right decision for the most people in the company. I want to say that again. I would make the right decision for the most people in the company. It's really difficult as a leader to just make a good decision for an individual. It almost never makes sense other than in their individual plans of growth. Most of the time as a leader in a business, you're making decisions for the bigger group of people, and at times those decisions will be unpopular, and at times those decisions can lead to people leaving. Horrible feeling when people leave because they don't agree with your decisions. But you have to make those decisions if you know that decision is the best for the greater good. It's really tough. Making hard decisions is tough, but you have to trust yourself. And it is a really good reason why you have to have a support group in. I'm very thankful for my wife, who is part of the business, but is also somebody I can turn to when I need to make decisions. I'm very thankful for my business partners. Even though they aren't involved in the day-to-day, I can turn to them, ask them questions. I'm very thankful for some of my friends that I've made along the way that I know I can bounce ideas off of them or take some time to share my thoughts with them, and they'll tell me if I'm crazy or not. I found that I need to surround myself with a good network because being a leader is lonely. Next question I like to ask people on our show is, what are your short-term goals for your career and yourself? I'm going to start with myself. At the moment, I'm trying to get back into a place where I am motivated to run. I've run 14 marathon plus distance races in my life. I'm not sure I want to return to marathon running, but I would like to be in a place where I could comfortably go out and run a half marathon again. I'm finding it really tough to find the motivation to do that, but I'm taking small steps at the moment. I got myself a watch that keeps me motivated because it tells me if I haven't done my exercise for the day, and I'm just finding a way to get fit again. So at the moment, a lot of that is indoor cycling and walking, with the hope as the weather gets a little bit warmer that I'll start getting in runs, maybe 1, 2, 3 times a week, just to get a point where I know I can go and run that half marathon again. Doesn't mean I have to do it, but I want to be in the place where I'm comfortably fit enough to do it. Additionally, I am a board member of Nevada Youth Soccer Association. I'm the VP of Rec, and I am at the moment just planning for the next season. I gave myself a C for the last season, so I'm working towards a B rating for myself as I head into my second season in that role. Professionally, my whole year is built around making Protea more sustainable. And when I mean more sustainable, is that I am working extremely hard to create an environment where if I disappear tomorrow, Protea can continue, but continue in a way that it continues to thrive. So my goal this year is to find ways to empower more of my team so that if I am no longer around, there is enough people and processes in place that the whole thing keeps moving. I am working very hard that people think of Protea as an exceptional outsourced accounting business run by great people, rather than people thinking that Protea Financial is a great outsourced accounting business run by Zane Stevens. My whole year is dedicated to making this business more sustainable without me. The next 2 questions are following up on sort of advice around success. I'll ask people sort of what's the best piece of advice to help them towards their success, and some advice that, I wish I knew earlier. And when it comes down to it, I don't know if there's any advice that I sort of took in and being like, that's the light bulb moment for me. I'm not sure if there was any. There was never that moment, especially on my entrepreneurial sort of run around. There's lots of small advice along the way, but I did stumble across pretty early on, and probably in my KPMG days. And sort of 2 pieces of advice that stuck out to me is that, 1, be you. You can only be the best version of yourself. You can't be another version of somebody else. I found that to be very important. And I took hold of that, and I probably even, took it out of context and ran with it. But I've used that to motivate me to be the best version of myself on a daily basis. I also learned about being 1% better every day, and, having like numbers for a long time. If you do the calculations, it's incredible how quickly things can grow up. I'm sure you've seen the things where if I get a penny a day and double it type situation, how much money you would have. Learning about 1% better every day was incredible. So I go into every single day trying to improve 1%. And it can be different every day, right? It could be 1% better in my health, 1% better in exercise. It could be 1% better husband, 1% better father, 1% better leader. It could be that I want to read a little bit more. Could I want to be better typing emails? Could be better at communicating with people. It's just being a little bit better than I was the day before. I constantly am trying to thrive to be a better person. And I know everybody's like, hey, we're always working on it. But the concept of just a little bit of improvement makes a big difference over a short period of time is advice that made a very big difference in my life. It sort of changed my outlook. Instead of setting these massive goals that were going to never be achievable, set yourself some small goals along the way, hit those goals and improve. I think that was just a lot of change in who I am. Piece of advice I wish when they sort of first started out, and I'm going to talk about advice I wish I'd started out as a leader of this business at Protea Financial, and it's one that I still have to remind myself on a daily basis. And that advice is trust your gut. Trust your gut. If you've got some experience, if you've worked hard, if you've been around, different people, you'll quickly realize that you have an internal feeling that will tell you when something is not right. And there's been a few times along the way where I'm like, I hear you, but I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to go with this because I feel like it's a good opportunity. Every single time it's blown up in my face. Absolutely disastrous. Your internal gut is always right. Trust it. Now, it doesn't mean you have to say no every time, but if you feel it and hear it, you probably need to take some time and do some further investigation into why. Maybe you have to ask some more questions. Questions are very important. So advice that I wish I had heard earlier and listened to earlier is trust your own gut. The most important question of Protea Conversations is the question that is always going to help you as a listener learn a little bit more. And it's the simple question of what advice would you give to people to be better leaders? And being a leader is tough, right? Being a leader of people comes with challenges because every person is different. People react to things differently. Culturally, people are different. Where they grew up makes them different. Their ages make them different. Every person is unique and different and reacts to situations in a different way. So I try and keep my leadership style very simple. I've made sure I understand who I am and what my values are. I try to listen to people often. I try to trust people. People that I have had interview and chosen to hire, I need to trust and trust that they will do the right thing. And most importantly, be kind to people. Exercise candor in your discussions and treat them the way you want to be treated. Remember, we are all people with emotions that are looking for a place where they can be trusted and provide an opportunity to learn. So if you're being a leader, trust your people, be kind to those people, and listen to those people. It will make a difference. I've shared a few personal things along the way here, just, to tell you guys a little bit who I am, right? And this is the question that we're going to close off with every Protea Conversation interview. Let's just share a little bit about who you are. And I'm fairly simple. I have very little like needs in my life. It's awfully simple. My wife is important to me. My kids are important to me. My 5 cats and a gecko are important to me. Very simple. I love sports, especially Chelsea Football Club. Their success affects my mood more than most things in life, and probably more than I wish to actually admit to. I love really good beers. It's the one thing I splurge on in life. Obviously love wine, being in the wine industry, and I more than both of those, probably combined wine and beer, is I love coffee. I might have a problem around coffee. Definitely had one. I used to drink 11 to 12 cups a day. I'm down to 5 cups a day. I'm very involved in the community through my board member role of Nevada Youth Soccer. We look after 1,400 kids in the fall for their program. It's a massive effort with some great people, and it's a way I spend, I don't know, probably 400 or 500 hours a year working on. I'm very, very pro kids playing sport, especially team sport. My kids have to be in sport all the time. There's a lot to be learned about it. And I think it's the best way to teach them respect and humility. So I will continue to be very involved in sports. And then finally, Protea Financial. It's a big part of who I am these days. I will continue to see it as a big part of my life. And I always strive to go, how can we be better to make sure that we're keeping people employed and helping as many people as possible. I am pretty simple in who I am, though I can be very difficult to be around. Protea Conversations always had some tradition in focusing on some rapid fire questions. I have some questions that I'll be asking guests, 5 questions per guest. I'm going to just sort of take all 10 of the questions. Let's just do all 10. We've got some time. So in the first grouping, I go, hey, what is your dream vacation? For me, honestly, any time with my family is great, but I'd love to do a European vacation. I've never been there before, and I'd love to spend some time in Europe. Do you prefer audiobooks or paper books? I use both. Probably spend more time listening to audiobooks than paper books. I try to get through about 1 paper book a month. Audiobooks, I'm getting through 3 to 7 a month. If you have 20 minutes to exercise, what would it be? Right now, it's jumping on the indoor exercise bike and just sort of spinning my legs. I actually did that last night. Just 20 minutes just to free the brain. What is a piece of technology that's used to make your life better? Super simple. My Apple Watch. Took me a while to get them. I've only had it for a couple of months, but it has been life-changing. Favorite childhood meal? Oof. I had a lot of good ones, but I think as a sort of bit of a fat kid back in the day, nothing could beat a piece of white bread, thick margarine, sugar on top, nuked in the microwave for a few seconds. Absolute perfection meal. Definitely enough to get me outside and playing some more. Second 5 set of questions starts with, what would you do your death row meal? Simple, easy one for me. It would be Brussels sprouts, mashed potatoes, a big thick cut pork chop, and then most likely some pecan nut pie with some ice cream. That would go a long way. Mountains or ocean? I spent a lot of time in the ocean as a kid, but nowadays I truly do love the mountains. I never really understood what mountains were until I moved to California, and I'm very blessed to be around some amazing mountains, and it's just awe-inspiring to be up in the Sierras, so I would choose the mountains. What quality do you appreciate in a good friend? Honesty is the most important quality to me in life. People that are honest and truthful, I will go to the end of the earth for. What's your favorite book you recommend everybody reads? The Go-Giver. We did it as a book club. I read it probably 3 times, and I say read. I listen to it on Audible 3 times a year. Fantastic book. Great lessons about looking for opportunities to give and being open to receiving. Every business owner, every person should read it. I will read it to my kids as soon as they're old enough to understand it. Fantastic book, The Go-Giver. And if you're stuck on a deserted island, what 3 items would you bring along? I would probably bring along a pillow, a knife, and something to start fire. And with that, we end another Protea Conversations. Thank you for joining us in the journey of learning and inspiration. Today, we've gained insights from our guests and taken another step towards understanding the diverse tapestry of leadership in business and accounting. Remember, each conversation is a step towards the positive transformation of business leaders. We hope our discussions have given you valuable takeaways to apply in your own career and life. Don't forget to subscribe to Protea Conversations on YouTube and Spotify so you never miss an episode. We also love to hear your thoughts and experiences, so connect with me on social media channels. I'm most active on LinkedIn and would love you to join the conversation. Join us next time for more engaging stories, advice, and conversations that matter. Until then, keep striving for excellence and embracing growth. Thank you for listening, be kind, and goodbye from Protea Conversations.